Bom tarde a nosso deputado de Economia, senhor Henison Tillman. Também bom tarde na diretor de Câmara de Comércio, Charity Quirindongo. Feliz tarde também na membro da Prensa, que está já acaba colhendo, e também na turista que está seguindo nosso work aqui. A tarde, de maneira nossa bisa, nós temos a conferência of milhão bisa, Enkuentro com Prensa, caminha com nós lo vai na papia, riba é tópico, caminha com o governo de Bonaire, está começar com uma investigação para evaluar o impacto de COVID-19 riba empresanan na nossa isla. Me traz uma introdução chiquito e depois lo me sigue elaborar riba a parte aqui de quem está vai papia. Entidade Pública Bonaire e Câmara de Comércio Bonaire está começando uma investigação para ajudar a evaluar, midi e analisar a consequência negativa da crise de COVID para empresanan. Também usa a encuesta aqui para uma avaliação de necessidade depois de desastre. Este é um Post-Disaster Needs Assessment, PDNA, mais amplo de enquanto descrever a consequência social e econômica da pandemia para Bonaire e de enquanto de uma guia mais leu na feedback e planificação de recuperação do governo. À tarde também, primeiramente, o deputado lo riba a palavra, ele trouxe sua introdução na papiamento. Depois, nós trabalhamos três speakers, que já foi, que o senhor Fred Beckley e também Reggie Chapman e também Fernando Ponce, seguido para o diretor de Câmara de Comércio, que é Charity Quirindongo. Depois de essa aqui, nós lo vai na over na papel na holandês e três maneiras que está colhen lo hiba na parte na inglês. Good afternoon, Mr. Fred Beckley, Reggie Chapman and Fernando Ponce. Welcome. As I just did a little introduction of what it's all about this afternoon, so we're going to get the commissioner is the one who's going to speak as first, and then Fred Beckley, Regis Chapman, Fernando Ponce, and as last we have Ms. Charity from the Chamber of Commerce. Okay, so the word is to the commissioner, Mr. Henison Tillman.
Danke, Neti. Bom tarde a todos que estão presentes e todos que escutam nós. Danke por sua presença durante a rede de prensa aqui, tocante ao estúdio que o Banco Mundial também faz para o governo de Bonaire. Me quero agradecer e I want to thank the people of the World Food Program, the World Bank, the European Union, and also the Chamber of Commerce for their help and support in this program for us. This is a very important study that we will be carrying out, and we are very thankful for your support in this. Nós tursa como isla com o impacto de COVID estava o grande riba nos isla, riba nos parte social, pero também seguro riba nos economia. E impacto aqui está ano largo acaba ela afetar nos turismo, ela afetar nos gente que está trabalhando dentro do setor aqui, pero outro setor também. Impacto não somente riba o terreno de economia, pero também riba terreno social. Como governo, para nós, por tomar decisão correta, decisão baseada em informação, é muito importante para nós ter cifra correta, para nós por tomar decisão também a base de cifra. Pensei como governo nos acercar a União Europeia e não ajuda-nos para nós vir em contato com o Banco Mundial, World Bank, para ajudar-nos com o trajeto aqui para nós pôr a informação necessária para nós por tomar decisão também a base de informação. Nós acercamos e não está disposto para ajudar-nos com estúdio. O estúdio vai encerrar não vai ter entrevista com os stakeholders da nossa isla. Não acercar diferentes pessoas, instâncias, mas também com companhia durante o trajeto aqui para a informação de que o impacto de COVID está ribanang, que o impacto social está, que o impacto econômico está. Essa é o trabalho de World Bank ding essa aqui. Naturalmente, para nós pôr a informação aqui, nós precisamos de cooperação de turgente para nós preparar o estudo aqui. Informação, informação de companhia e impacto, me saco, não é coisa fácil para um gente compartilhar, mas é importante sim para compartilhar com nós, para nós ter a cifra mais melhor possível e para nós base nas decisões também a base de cifra aí. Com a análise e rapporto aqui que nós também traz, nós como governo, por tomar decisão mais à base de informação, nós por preparar nossa estratégia e nossa decisão e medida à base de cifras aqui, mas também nós por acercar a Holanda para agora que seguro que tem gabinete novo para dar informação de que é o impacto para nós, para que o Covid está e que é sustento que nós também temos de não tem o trajeto aqui. Então, essa é parte que está sendo importante para nós por a cooperação de tudo isso aqui. Me quer assim suplicar desse aí na povo de Bonaire completo para yuda e dar informação caminho necessário para nós por a informação aqui para nós estar bom preparar para nós ter bom estudo. Me quer finalizar para bisa começar com a situação agora aqui de Covid tá de seguro caso na Bonaire tá impactou so bem ele outra bisa não quer sair com medida não também toma me quer bisa no mesmo momento que nós tem atenção para essa aqui como governo nós a tomar tempo para durante o dia ter diferente reunião para preparar e também que se acaba lo dar mais informação sobre essa aqui me quer informar de sei para me saco tem de outra ponta que não que sa over de que vai passar de situação atual que nós está. Então, me quero dar esse aí também como uma informação adicional. Visando esse aí, me quero passar a palavra na Fred Bialci, de World Bank, para não poder dar mais informação tocante e análise. I would like to pass the word to Fred for him to explain what they will be doing on their part.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you to the public entity of Bonaire and the Chamber of Commerce. It is a pleasure to be here to launch this survey to assess the pandemic's adverse impact on businesses in Bonaire, which will feed into the more comprehensive post-disaster needs assessment for the social and economic impacts of COVID-19. My name is Fred Beckley. I'm the Senior Country Officer in the World Bank's Caribbean Country Management Unit. We cover 19 countries, overseas territories, and special municipalities in the region. In 13 of which we have active operations dealing with everything from infrastructure resilience to environmental and natural resource management to human development to fiscal sustainability. But our overarching focus is on cross-cutting resilience building, a 360-degree approach that ties together all of those areas, given the pandemic's vulnerability to, given the Caribbean's vulnerability to disasters and, as we have seen, to a global pandemic. This means building physical resilience to the impacts of natural hazards and climate change, as well as social and financial resilience to these same hazards and the various shocks that the Caribbean is exposed to. It's quite clear that the Caribbean and its economies are among the worst hit, if not the worst hit, by COVID on Earth. One thing we know, knowledge needs to underpin all of the support that we provide and the world food impacts on Bonaire. That will help further guide the government's response. And that would be one big step on the road to recovery. So thank you. And again, it's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fred Beckley. Now, Mr. Regis Chapman.
Thank you very much, Commissioner, and thank you to the Chamber of Commerce and the government of Bonaire. The World Food Program, or WFP, is happy to be able to support these efforts to strengthen the understanding of the impact of COVID-19 and the impact in particular on its populations. The World Food Program has an office in Barbados that covers 22 countries and territories in the Caribbean. While we don't cover Bonaire, we have seen how this crisis is impacting small island developing states throughout the Caribbean. We've been working for the past year with the Caribbean Community, or CARICOM Secretariat, on a series of COVID-19 food security and livelihoods impact surveys. And these surveys have helped governments around the Caribbean to better understand how people have been impacted in order to better inform responses. And our partnership with the World Bank led to WFP's involvement in Bonaire. And again, we're happy to be able to extend this support. The situation, as everyone here very well knows, is quite unprecedented. Around the world and around the Caribbean region, we've seen responses from governments that have included expansion of social protection programs. I think in the Caribbean, we've seen a general acknowledgement that the way food systems and food security is structured in the region needs to be completely relooked at. Governments have been providing unemployment benefits and many others. However, what we're seeing now very clearly in these Caribbean-wide surveys is that the crisis is deepening as the socioeconomic impacts continue to be felt 1 year on from the global declaration of pandemic. While vaccination efforts are promising and will likely facilitate a gradual return to normal, the impacts on people throughout the Caribbean will take time to reverse. And while eventually tourism and other sources of revenue will inevitably begin to return over the coming months and years, really this crisis has erased several years of development gains in the Caribbean SIDS. What we've also noticed from these surveys that we've done to date is that it's very clear that the poorest segments of society are the most impacted and risk being further left behind. As the crisis continues, we've seen an evolution in the food security and livelihoods of people. And where at the onset, much like many of you, people tapped into their resources and they purchased larger amounts of food, and they made other changes to cope with the initial movement and other restrictions. We've seen increasing food prices, we've seen loss of jobs, and we've seen loss of income. And when we analyze this information over time, what we're seeing is a much more nuanced situation for the poorer groups within the countries that have been surveyed to date. While the households with above average and well above average incomes are equipped to deal with the crisis up to this point, those poorer households are relying on reducing their food consumption, employing negative coping strategies that undermine their health, livelihoods, and general well-being in the long run, just so they can ensure that they have food on the table. And they're increasingly struggling to access food due to the lack of resources. In the case of Bonaire, we believe this survey is an important step, and we hope that the technical support that WFP provides will facilitate a more appropriate and robust response. At the same time, we hope that highlighting the more nuanced impact of the crisis over different segments of the society will also ensure that these efforts do not create a greater gap between the different economic groups. It's important to balance the macroeconomic picture with the microeconomic situation of the poorest and most vulnerable. So thanks again to the government of Bonaire, the Chamber of Commerce, the World Bank, as well as the EU delegation. Thanks.
Now I gave the word to Mr. Fernando Ponzo, but I have to say also, after Fernando Ponzo, we have our director from the Chamber of Commerce. She's going to do also her speech in Papiamento, and after that, we're going to give the commissioner and the director is going to give the speeches in Dutch, and then there is opportunity for the press to ask questions. Okay? So, Fernando Ponzo, it's your turn.
Thank you very much, Natalie.
You're welcome.
And I would like to start greeting Commissioner Tillman and the representatives of the World Bank, but also the different representatives of other organizations. And it's a pleasure to be here today with you. I think that you are aware that the European Union is a long-standing partner of Bonaire and of all the overseas countries and territories. And reflecting this partnership and this commitment, we have a very sizable regional program, which is RESENBID, which, as you know, it was given 40 million euro, and it has been even further increased in the framework of COVID, or the fight against COVID. So there is a total of 42.6 million euro at the disposal of all the overseas countries and territories under our jurisdiction. But in addition to that, I must also stress that there are bilateral programs which are also quite big with those overseas countries and territories which are eligible for this kind of bilateral programs, including, by the way, Bonaire. So this reflects the important commitment and continued commitment of the European Union with the overseas countries and territories. Now, the program that we are launching today, the project that we are launching today, it's quite important because what I refer to is the current volume of cooperation. But of course, we are also thinking about the future and the future needs and the future cooperation. So the aim of this technical assistance, which is provided by the World Bank with the EU financing, is to support the development of country-specific disaster risk financing options and to provide capacity building as well on the use of the existing risk transfer mechanisms. And also, I have to say, to work more with the OCTs, with Bonaire in this case, to promote informed decision-making on disaster risk financing, which is a fundamental point to address the disasters that unfortunately the Caribbean knows very well about. So beginning in 2020, actually 1 year ago, almost day by day, a joint EU and World Bank decision allowed for the funds that are allotted to this technical assistance to also include specific assistance to respond to COVID. And this is, of course, we all know how important that is, not only to respond to the health needs, but also to the whole impact of the pandemic, which ranges from tourism destruction to the business, which have had to close, and to the daily impact that has, unfortunately, on the lives of people. We want to help on that too, and I think that this project will be a very good starting point for further action. And I underline starting point because it is the start of something. It's not an end in itself, as you know. Is to evaluate needs, to evaluate the best procedures so that the best decision can be taken. And we hope that there will be an active response to the survey that we are launching today, as the results will be key to assess in detail those impacts that I described in Bonaire, and further guide the government's response and recovery planning. And I would like to add also further inspire our good cooperation, our excellent cooperation also for the future. So I think I stop here. I have to apologize. I don't speak Papiamento yet, but thanks to the cultural connections, I could understand, I think, most of what was said today, and I look forward to continue listening to the other speakers. I want to conclude thanking my team, my head of cooperation, Mr. Licero, also the person responsible for this file, Madam Hadrawi, and all the cooperation team who have really worked very, very hard and well on this. Thanks a lot, and I look forward to hear the next intervention.
Thank you, Mr. Ponzo. I would like to pass the word to our director from the Chamber of Commerce, Ms. Charity Quirindongo.
I want to first make use of this opportunity to thank the public entity of Bonaire and the World Bank for the opportunity provided to us as the Chamber to also contribute to this very important investigation. Thank you. Gustosamente, Cámara de Comercio ta coopera con encuesta special para empresario ng cuya acaba diferente partido ad una explicación tocante di G. Aya pasa, na comienzo di ebrote di COVID-19, nos introduci un locat di sostén para empresario que duna informação tocante ture arreglo nan di sostén e também yuda empresario nan kunang aplicação. Hopi empresario hasi uso di esaki e te ainda ta hasi uso di G. Pa medio di elocat aqui, nós reparar que cerca de empresário na Bonaire ainda tem preocupação e também pergunta. Na luna de setembro de ano passado, a Câmara de Comércio atende uma encuesta para de empresário na Bonaire para medir o efeito de Covid-19. 256 empresários na Bonaire ayena a encuesta aqui. O tempo o empresário a indicar que o impacto riba na empresa está grande, grande, e que a perda de venda também está considerável. Nós usa a conclusão e resultado aqui para conscientizar o Ministério na Holanda e também a entidade pública de Bonaire tocante o efeito riba o empresário e também riba a economia de Bonaire em geral. A encuesta nova aqui, em cooperação com o Banco Mundial e a entidade pública de Bonaire, está uma boa oportunidade para coletar mais informação quantificável que o diálogo com outro partido mais fácil. Simplesmente, está que tem falta de facts and figures na Bonaire para por indicar outro partido na uma maneira substancial que está a consequência de pandemia em sentido social e econômico. Mita quer que tu rende na Bonaire tem benefício de cifras aqui e pensei como Câmara de Comércio nós está fazendo uma chamada riba tour empresa na Bonaire para llenar a encuesta para assim nós chegar na cifra representativa e confiável. Amanhã, durante o dia, nós manda a encuesta para tu registração ativa de nosso registro comercial, handelsregister. Via de direct mail, o empresário ganha o link que está conduzindo a encuesta. Nós oferecemos a encuesta em diferentes idiomas, para assim ser mais fácil possível para todo empresário realmente llenar a encuesta. Se trata de idioma papiamento, holandês, inglês e hasta espanhol. Para motivo de limitação da plataforma de encuesta, por ganhar a versão na papiamento, baude o título português. Nós pedimos desculpa para isso aqui. A encuesta está disponível também via nosso website www.kvkbonaire.com. Se tem pergunta ou Ministério de Yudança, por tomar contato conosco, locat de sostém na Câmara de Comércio via nosso e-mail steunlocat@kvkbonaire.com ou por chamar-nos na 717-5595. Laga-nos tur junto com outro soro para a encuesta aqui, vira uno exitoso e laga a mim for de lugar aqui expressar o desejo que o mais pronto possível empresário não por hasi atrobe lo que não gusta mais tanto. Esta hasi negócio sem limitação que lamentavelmente ainda está necessário. Mas danke para vossa atenção.
Danke na Charity. Me também passa a palavra para o nosso deputado de Economia, Sr. Henrison Tillman, agora que ele vai trazer seu discurso na holandês. Our commissioner is now giving his speech in Dutch.
Boa tarde, allen. Sorry, de novo? For the technical issue, we gaan het weer doen. Buon tardi allen, bedankt voor jullie aanwezigheid vandaag bij deze belangrijke persconferentie omtrent de onderzoek die we gaan doen, omtrent de COVID-pandemie en de impact hiervan voor het eiland. We weten allemaal dat de impact van COVID voor het eiland heel groot was in het afgelopen jaar. We hadden te kampen met een pandemie die zeker ook sociale en economische gevolgen heeft gehad voor onze eiland. En voor dit heeft natuurlijk belangrijk moeten we aangeven dat we informatie nodig hebben om de juiste beslissingen te nemen omtrent dit. Vandaar hebben we ook de European Union, we hebben ook Wereldbank, we hebben de World Food Program en we hebben de Kamer van Koophandel benaderd om ons te helpen met de onderzoek die we moeten gaan doen om de informatie te krijgen die nodig is om de juiste beslissingen te kunnen nemen. Hierin zullen wij een interview gaan houden met verschillende stakeholders. Het idee is dat ook via verschillende 2 enquêtes naar buiten worden gestuurd naar ondernemers, maar ook naar de hele bevolking, die dan de mogelijkheid zullen krijgen om daar de juiste informatie te geven over de impact voor hun bedrijf of voor hunzelf, op hun situatie, op hun sociale situatie ook. Met het rapport die hieruit uiteindelijk komt, zullen wij als overheid beter onze beleid daarop kunnen baseren. En natuurlijk zullen we ook in Nederland in contact gaan met Nederland om daar de juiste steun te krijgen. En om dat te doen hebben we natuurlijk ook informatie nodig waarop we onze argumenten dan kunnen baseren. Dus dat is de reden waarom we dit doen. We zullen het rapport zeker ook delen met iedereen, dat iedereen op de hoogte is van wat er allemaal daarin naar voren is gekomen. En daarom willen we iedereen ook vragen om tijdens de enquêtes en ook interviews om zoveel mogelijk informatie ook met ons te delen, met onze mensen, met het team die bezig zal zijn. Alleen met de juiste informatie kunnen wij een goed rapport opstellen waarin we ook onze beleid op kunnen baseren. Dus dat is mijn verzoek naar iedereen, naar onze hele bevolking, om hieraan zoveel mogelijk mee te doen en te participeren in het traject. En als laatste om af te sluiten, to close off my speech, I would like to thank once again the World Food Program, the EU, the World Bank, and also the Chamber of Commerce for supporting us. And like I heard Fernando just say, they are willing to support us further also in the future. We are very thankful for this. As a small island, surely this is surely necessary. And we are very thankful for your support in this and also in future projects together. Thank you.
Thank you na nos diputado. Thank you to our commissioner and Ms. Charity Quirindongo.
Dankjewel, Nettie. Bontari aan iedereen die ons op dit moment volgt. De Kamer van Koophandel werkt graag mee aan de enquête, speciaal voor ondernemers, die hiervoor al is toegelicht door diverse partijen. We hebben vorig jaar, gelijk aan het begin van de COVID-19-virusuitbraak, een steunloket opgericht voor ondernemers dat informatie verstrekt over alle steunmaatregelen en ondernemers ook helpt bij het aanvraagproces hiervan. Veel ondernemers hebben gebruik van onze steunloket gemaakt en maken nog steeds gebruik van ons steunloket. Hieruit blijkt dat er nog steeds veel zorgen en vragen leven bij veel ondernemers op Bonaire. In september vorig jaar heeft de Kamer van Koophandel een enquête uitgevoerd onder de ondernemers op Bonaire om de effecten van COVID-19 onder de ondernemers in kaart te brengen. Deze enquête is toen door 256 ondernemers op Bonaire ingevuld. Veel ondernemers gaven aan dat de impact op de ondernemingen groot tot zeer groot is en dat de omzetderving ook aanzienlijk is. Deze inzichten en resultaten zijn gebruikt om de ministeries in Nederland en ook het openbaar lichaam Bonaire bewust te maken van de effecten op de ondernemers op Bonaire en de economie als geheel. Deze nieuwe enquête in samenwerking met de Wereldbank en het openbaar lichaam Bonaire is een goede gelegenheid om meer kwantificeerbare informatie te verzamelen die de dialoog met andere partijen vergemakkelijkt. Er is nu eenmaal een gebrek aan facts en figures op Bonaire om beter onderbouwd te kunnen aangeven naar andere partijen wat de gevolgen zijn van de pandemie in sociaal-economische zin. Ik denk dat iedereen op Bonaire gebaat is bij deze cijfers, dus als Kamer van Koophandel roepen we alle bedrijven op Bonaire op om de enquête in te vullen en zo tot betrouwbare en representatieve cijfers te komen. Morgen gedurende de dag zal de enquête via direct mailing naar alle actieve registraties in het handelsregister worden verstuurd. De enquête wordt in verschillende talen aangeboden om het de ondernemer zo makkelijk mogelijk te maken om de enquête ook daadwerkelijk in te vullen. Het betreft de talen Papiaments, Nederlands, Engels en ook Spaans. Vanwege beperkingen van het enquêteplatform vindt u het papiamense-versie onder de titel Portugees. Onze excuses hiervoor. De enquête is ook beschikbaar via onze website kvkbonaire.com. Indien er vragen zijn of hulp nodig is, kan contact worden opgenomen met het steunloket van de Kamer van Koophandel, zowel via de mail steunloket@kvkbonaire.com als via onze telefoon 717-5595. Laten we er met z'n allen ervoor zorgen dat deze enquête een succes is. En laat ik vanaf deze plek ook de hoop uitspreken dat ondernemers zo snel mogelijk weer kunnen doen wat zij het leukste vinden, namelijk het kunnen ondernemen zonder de beperkingen die nu helaas nog noodzakelijk zijn. Bedankt voor uw aandacht.
Dank je, na Charity. Agora nós vamos passar para o momento de pergunta door de Prensa. Okay, now the press has the time to ask questions. So just raise your hand if you have any questions. I see we have Julie Morgan and Sylvia de Leon. Sylvia de Leon, good afternoon. Buon tardi.
Good afternoon, thank you. I'm from Bonaire newspaper, an online newspaper. First of all, my question is, how long will this survey last and when will the results be available? What is the time period for this?
I shall do it in English. We expect for it to go out in the coming week. The surveys will be going out in the coming week, and we expect to have the first report in concept around mid-April, and we expect to have a definitive report by May. So in May we will then share this with everyone.
Just to add, so the survey, especially for the businesses, will start tomorrow, and it will be available till next week, Friday, the 26th.
Okay. Sylvia, do you have more questions? Sylvia, heb je nog meer vragen? Okay, no question. Okay, Julie, do you have any questions?
Yes, so it's only going out to the businesses, and is it going to go by mail? Do they have to go online to do this? Or because some of the businesses that might receive it aren't that well versed in online surveys, or are the newspapers going to receive a link or more of a story so that we can publish this to get this out to the people quicker? And how long is it? How long is the survey?
So we're going to send the survey via a link tomorrow. So all companies that are registered in our commercial registry will receive the email directly in their inbox. So the link is going to be open starting tomorrow, and you have till next week Friday to complete it. Afterwards, it will be closed. It's a total of 30 questions, multiple choice questions, so we expect that you will have that completed within maximum 5 minutes. We will also put this on our social media, so in case that we don't have your updated email address and you do not get the email, you can still access us via our social media or via the website of the Chamber of Commerce, www.chamberofcommerce.com.
That is for the business survey. We will also have a survey that will be going out to the whole public. That will be going out via an SMS blast that will be going out this week, and also through various channels of the OLB. So that will be going out, and then people can click on the link and fill in the survey then.
Yes, Julie, you have more questions?
Yes, one more question. So the chamber members get it first, and then you're sending it out to just the general public, or will that go to like people that work in jobs for the chamber of businesses, or is it just anyone? Just anyone that's on Bonaire?
It regards two separate surveys. So you have
Right,
one
right.
especially for the businesses that the businesses are going to receive automatically, and you have the one for the public that's going out via SMS.
Okay, that's what I meant. Yeah, that one.
Okay, I see Sylvia. Do you have also questions to our international speakers?
Yes.
Okay.
The biggest issue by most entrepreneurs is that they're getting really into debt, and in the newspaper it shows that the economical crisis still has to start. How can you prepare as a business owner for this crisis?
Who can answer these questions?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Okay. Most business owners, their biggest issue at the moment is that they are getting into debt, into a deep debt.
David.
How, and the economical crisis, in the newspapers it says that it still has to start. So how do you prepare your business right now? And we cannot wait for these numbers till May, maybe. How can we prepare ourselves for our problems right now on a small island like Bonaire?
That's a very good question and very deep also. I think there are a couple of things that businesses can start off by doing now is one, going very deep and looking thoroughly into their costs of their company to maintain the cost very low. That's one of the most important things to do right now. Of course, next to that, you also have to have income coming in. The Netherlands just announced that there will be various extra support during the coming quarters. So that's already very good. So I would say for all businesses to apply for that. That's something that can support them surely during this period. And I think also, of course, it's something that's going to take time. You said that the economic impact will be coming. I think most businesses are already feeling the effects of this. So it's something that we all have to go through it together. It's not easy. There's no answer or a solution that I can give right now. Every business has to look into their own situation and try to come out of this situation and being very creative in thinking of new possibilities for their own business, new business opportunities, but also how to do business in a COVID period. So that's how I what advice I would give on that.
I just want to add to what the commissioner said. As the chamber, we are in very close contact with the companies. You know that they are in pain. You feel their concern, but it's very difficult when we have dialogues with the respective parties to measure. You have to measure. You have to have facts and figures. So that is why this survey is very important for us to be able to quantify the exact effects. The question that you rightly ask is one of the questions also included in the survey, where we ask the companies, what kind of support do you need from the chamber, from the government, from other institutions, so you can safeguard your company in the future. So this is also something that we try to measure through this survey. So again, our urge to everyone to please complete the survey, include the figures, so we can have proper facts and figures to have these dialogues and conversations, discussions with everyone that can help us in this regard.
Thank you. Tem más pregunta? Is there any question? More questions? Okay, we have Julie.
Yes. Fernando, you said that there was 42.6 million euro for overseas territories. So how many of those territories are there, and how is the money appropriated? Is all that going to be appropriated through the surveys? Are they all taking the survey as well?
Thank you very much, Julie, for your question. In fact, there are 14 overseas countries and territories in the Caribbean, but actually we only between brackets have 7 under our responsibility. And out of those 7, 6 have bilateral cooperation programs. So you can imagine that this is quite a lot. No, I think that the principle of this program is that this project is that it is based on country demand and specific request. That's why I am particularly pleased that Bonaire took this opportunity to request support for this COVID-19 post-disaster needs assessment. Of course, other requests will also and can also be considered, but it's not automatic. And once again, I think it's very important that that Bonaire took this opportunity. I think I can congratulate Bonaire for that.
Thank you to Mr. Ponce. Is there any questions? More questions? If I see no more questions, oh, okay. Sylvia?
Yeah, I have maybe for the commissioner a question. The period of time is very long that we're going into COVID now, and companies are moving away from Bonaire. Is that happening? And how do you avoid that, or how you keep companies on Bonaire?
I think indeed we have been in a long period of this due to the support that we have been getting from the Netherlands, from the different ministries, and also I think the support that the OLB has given in this period. I think a lot of businesses have maintained their head above water during this period. We will be trying again as we go further in the situation. We believe, like you said already also today, that the companies will be going more and more into debt. So we will be looking into increasing opportunities, increasing the support that they will be receiving so that companies can maintain. And from the other side, we will also we've already reserved extra funds to support TCB in their efforts to get more tourists to the island after, let's say, things have calmed down a little compared to right now. So to get tourists back to the island as fast as possible so that the companies can start getting the revenue that they were used to, and that also people who have lost their jobs in this period can also go back to work. So that's the two sides that we are working on. One, trying to get the necessary support from the Netherlands for the companies on the island, and also on the other side trying to get the tourists back to the island in that case, so that businesses can again receive the revenue that they've been receiving in the past, and they can build back up and get their workers also working back with them.
May I come in for 1 second? Hello?
Yes, Mr. Ponce?
Yes, if you don't mind, could I come in for a second? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, I hear you.
Okay, sorry, there was a problem with the sound. No, I just wanted to make a precision with respect to the previous question. It just came to my mind, of course, that the total number actually of OCTs, it's important also to mention that it has gone down now. So please don't refer to the first number I gave you. the actual number of OCTs under our responsibility is 7. And I think I mentioned that figure. But there are many other countries and territories which used to belong to the United Kingdom and which are part of the United Kingdom now. But as you know, the United Kingdom is not part of the European Union any longer. So coming back to your question, it's we have 7 OCTs under our responsibility, 6 of which have bilateral programs. I just wanted to clarify that.
Charity?
Yes, I just wanted to come back on the question regarding companies that are closing. So as you know, the Chamber also administers the commercial registry. So we had the same concern last year. That's why we also did the first survey in September 2020. But the survey did show us, and we also compared the figures of deregistrations of companies of last year versus the previous years. And shockingly, it wasn't that much of a difference. So we do believe that the support measures that the Commissioner rightly has mentioned is trying, or it's helping companies to still hold on. But you're right, it's taking too long. We do know also that some, especially the smaller companies, have expressed their concerns because not all of them qualify for the support measures. So that's why, again, my urge for them to complete this survey and bring this forward so we can have more extensive figures to continue the discussions and try to help them the best we can.
Thank you, Charity. Is there any questions from our press? Okay, if there is none, I would like to thank you, our international speakers. You have something else to say before we close this part? One of you?
Perhaps I can go ahead and thank you very much for this opportunity to share this extremely interesting conversation. But most of all the very best for the implementation of this important project, and the European Union will continue our strong and very close cooperation with Bonaire.
Also. Mr. Chapman?
Perhaps just to extend thanks as well to everyone and for allowing us to participate in this conversation. I probably should have specified in my initial remarks, but the World Food Program is helping with the household level survey, not the business survey, again, building on what we've been doing in the CARICOM countries of the Caribbean. So I think there's a lot of learning that can come out of these surveys and can certainly help to guide the way forward. So happy to engage in this process, and thank you again for your time.
And Mr. Fernando Baccali?
Yeah, just to echo Regis and Fernando, to say thank you. It's our first engagement in Bonaire, I believe, in the World Bank's history. So we're very excited about this. We're glad to be able to provide some expertise to contribute to the recovery. And as the others said, we wish you good luck, and we're here to support you and work together with you on this. And we're very much looking forward to it.
Thank you, Mr. Baccali. I give the word also to Charity, her last word before we finish.
Sì, mi kaya madanki na turende I nostra conta cultura empresario nang pa yena e in questa in malco nostra chiamayang. Sorry.
Nos diputado.
Thank you. I would like to finish off by thanking all our partners working on this project. We are very grateful for your support in this. E para resumir, lo que nos apapia nós também sacamos estudo em cooperação com o Banco Mundial, União Europeia, World Food Program e também junto com a Câmara de Comércio, assim nós põe informação para aqui que o impacto de COVID estava arriba nos parte social, mas também arriba nossa economia. Para assim nós podemos cifra mais concreta possível para nós por base nos decisões arriba esse, mas também para nós acercar a Holanda de nos peticiona caminho nos mostrar caminho nos ministério mais sustento. Essa é a intenção de estudo que nós está fazendo aqui, estudo aqui está nos ministério de cooperação de Turgen de para nós por a informação necessária para nós que fazer uma apelação arriba nossa comunidade para cooperar dentro aqui só para informação chega cerca de ainda participar dentro de uma informação necessária para assim nós por ter boa informação para nós passar nos decisões a base de